Now on the Locked On Celtics podcast, it's amazing what one practice can do for a guy. Vooch looked great.
Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts when they play on the weekends, which they'll start to do again in a couple of weeks. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch a show on YouTube, and you'll see me here at TD Garden, not at the floor because that's being changed over since the Celtics are at their All-Star break. But I am up here at the Sports Museum on the 9th floor at TD Garden, hanging out with my guys, Ted Williams, Larry Bird, Bobby Orr back there, Carl Yastrzemski, Harry Aganis. Just my friends up here. I'm John Karalis, the non-wooden guy, although people might not know that. I am a beat writer covering the Celtics for Sports Illustrated Celtics on SI. I've been covering the team for about 20 years, doing this podcast for 10. I've written a couple books about the team as well. The Celtics get the easy win. It was a little sloppy at the beginning, but generally an easy win for the Celtics. Later on, Anfernee Simons, we'll talk about him a little bit. He, I guess, revenge game opportunity, but that didn't go well. Individual performances like Jordan Walsh, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Pritchard, Vooch, we'll get to him in a few minutes here. Probably save that for middle of the second segment or so. But let's just start with this. The offense back on track, I think, is my biggest takeaway. The Celtics have had a couple of bad performances. Their offensive rating for the season is up above 120, but in the last game against New York, it was about 94, 95. That's bad. 90, that's per 100 possessions. So if you don't know what an offensive rating is, most of you do, but if you don't, it's per 100 possessions. So when it's at 95 points per 100 possessions is awful, horrible, historically bad. It was 106 in the game prior to that. This one was 127.36. It was their highest in a month and their 13th highest of the season. So to me, for a team that's kind of struggling a little bit offensively since the trade deadline, this was a nice kind of get back game. Now, the Chicago Bulls, let's be fair, let's be reasonable here, are an awful mess. Their roster doesn't make any sense anymore. They get a million guards. They got no bigs. They were, Ersan Yabusele out there, who I don't think is. I'll put it this way: I feel like when he was in Philly and New York, he was enjoying some of the local cuisine a little bit, which is easy for me to say, but I'm not the one that's in the NBA, so he's not looking great. Regardless, the Bulls do not look great. The Bulls were missing a couple of guys. They're missing Josh Giddey. They were missing Isaac Okoro. They're missing other guys. So I'm not going to pretend like this was some big, impressive win. Like, oh man, the Celtics look great. Yeah, you're supposed to look great, but they came out and they took care of business like they're supposed to. They did what they're supposed to do, and that's beat the pants off of a disjointed, shorthanded team that's going to be fighting for the play-in again. The offense could have been, in situations like this, offense very easily could be, hey, you know what? Bulls suck. Let's ISO. Let's go, whatever. No, lots of ball movement. That was great to see. Crisp ball movement. We were one possession where Vooch had it at the top. Kicked it inside. It swung out to the corner, up to the wing, back around up top. The guy who passed it, who gave it up, got it back. I love when those plays happen because it's something I remember a couple years ago when I was imploring Jaylen and Jayson, give the ball up. You will get it back. Trust me. Trust the offense. I love when that stuff happens. That is beautiful basketball. And the basketball gods reward Vooch with an easy, straight-on three-pointer that he nailed. He was 4 of 5 from 3. He finished with 19 points and 11 rebounds. The ball movement, and it wasn't just that play. There was a lot of good ball movement. There was a lot of looking for each other. There was a lot of cutting. I'm a big fan of the cutting. People who have been here with me throughout my 10 years of podcasting know that when I see a good backdoor cut or, whatever variety of cuts that there are, when I see a guy cut to the basket, I love it. I love when he gets rewarded. Beautiful stuff there. So it's important to kind of take this kind of feeling into the All-Star break. There's no such thing as momentum. There's no such thing as carrying it over to the wet late. At that point, it's a week later. Any momentum is gone. But, it's just a good feeling to be in the locker room. Everybody's kind of having fun, joking around, enjoying themselves. That's a nice vibe to take into the All-Star break. So nice to see that offense kind of clicking the way that it was. And a quick look at the standings here. The Celtics remain a half game up on the New York Knicks, who beat sorry, I just saw the final score. I know they were up big. I didn't see the final score. Oh my, 138 to 89. The Knicks beat the Sixers. Wow. I thought this was an easy game. The Knicks, whew. Okay, so the Celtics go into the All-Star break 35-19. Really nice. A half game up, one game in the loss column there, ahead of the Knicks, a game and a half ahead of the Cavs, who are slowly kind of creeping up. They've won 5 in a row after beating the Wizards. So they're 9-1 in their last 10. The Celtics are 7-3 in their last 10. This is a nice kind of bounce back from their kind of 500 January, playing 500 ball January. Vooch was it took him a little bit to kind of get into the flow of the game. I'm certainly not going to call this a revenge game. I don't think you can call it revenge when he was very open to leaving Chicago. So I don't think he was broken up about it. If anything, this was a thank you game. Hey guys, I'm going to put you out of your misery early. This is me at my best. Thank you for trading me here. Look at how happy I am. That's probably the best way to classify what this game was for Vooch. He obviously was making shots. Everybody for the Celtics was making shots. So this was, to combat with some of the really terrible shooting that they've had recently. They came in and everybody shot well. They shot almost 52%, 40% from 3, 18 of 45. Weirdly, 8 of 13 from the line, but whatever. Doesn't matter in a game like this. They put up 6 more field goal attempts. They won the margin there. They just shot well, played well. 20, how many assists? 29 assists on the 49 baskets. And Vooch was smooth. He looked good. It wasn't a dominant performance. He just steady performance. Got there on the boards. Was passing really well. He had 3. Double check that number. 3 assists. Yeah. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 offensive rebounds, by the way, a steal and 2 blocks. He had 2 blocks within a minute. My favorite quote from the night is actually from Jordan Walsh, who I'll get to in a second. But Jordan was talking about the offense, and he saw, something about Vooch. He's, oh man, I love this guy. Every time I see him out there, I'm just gonna be cutting all the time, and I know he's gonna be looking for me. Which says a lot, by the way, because he's been on the floor with a lot of people, and this is the first time I've heard him say about anybody, oh, I'm just going to cut all the time because I know this guy's going to be looking for me. This Celtics team does not cut well. I think that this kind of Jordan quote sheds some light onto everything, because it's, why cut if they're not going to find you? The Celtics do not run a lot of that stuff because who's going to find them? They don't have a lot of that. And a lot of those cutters run through the big. So great job by Walsh saying, hey, if Vooch has it, low post, high post, depending on where he's positioned, that kind of influences the angle of your cut. But knowing that if you do see an opening and you go for it, that Vooch will try to find you. He had one awesome just thread the needle from the top of the key. It was in the second half of the third quarter. Vooch got it at the top and just snuck this little pass right down the lane. Jordan went in, finished the dunk. It was beautiful. So Vucevic was just, I think everything you want him to be was on display. I think this was kind of like the perfect everything you want all of these guys to be. So Vooch talked about it after the game, how he was comfortable because you got to practice and you got to go through things and see how they're supposed to work rather than be shown how they're supposed to work, right? You get to do it and be like, no, your positioning is here. No, this is the timing. This is what we're looking for. All of that stuff. So to get that practice kind of just set a lot of the lessons that he's learning. And now you get to go into the All-Star break. He said it's good. Obviously, he's going to be looking to get off his feet a little bit in the All-Star break, but now he gets to process a lot of that stuff. He gets to go through some film. He gets to talk to some, text the coach, text the player, text whomever, and say, okay, I just saw this. What am I supposed to do here? Or whatever. So this is good. It was good to see Vooch handle this, have this game this way, and all good stuff from Vooch. I just mentioned Jordan Walsh. I think this was the perfect Jordan Walsh game. We'll get into that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season does not have to take over your life. I know it's very easy for that to happen, but TurboTax is making it easier this year for you to just hand things off and move on with your day, just like you're running off a handoff with Nikola Vucevic. With TurboTax full service, you can have all of your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress, without the guesswork. Do you spend hours trying to figure out forms? No, your local TurboTax expert can figure that out for you, and you can do that in person or online, and they'll handle everything. W-2, self-employed forms, everything that you need for them to get you those deductions that you're looking for. Upload your documents, go about your day, check the progress right in the TurboTax app. Huge time saver and gives you peace of mind because a local expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can get your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, you just have to file by February 28th. You're running out of time, just a couple weeks left there. So take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics the #1 Celtics podcast and Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, I would love for you to check out the Everydayer Club. You get ad-free audio for Locked On Celtics compatible with Apple, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. You get the Everydayer Club Discord server, group chat just for Locked On Celtics listeners. So check that out as well. We got a whole lot more in there. So it's $5 a month, $50 for the year. Check it out at lockedonceltics.supercast.com, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. I'll drop a link there in the show notes. Looking at the individual performances, Jordan Walsh stands out because he hasn't had many of these games recently, but 16 points, 7 of 12 shooting, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 block shots. This is the absolute perfect Jordan Walsh game. And it's not even about the scoring, but the scoring came from a couple of things. Offensive rebounds, couple of putback dunks, cuts. That's a great way. I don't know. I'm going to go back on the cuts thing because I don't understand why more people don't have this Jordan Walsh mentality, especially with a guy like Vooch out there. But just in general, cut, and if they don't find you, it's going to show up on the film. It's going to show up in the coaching film and in film sessions. If they miss you, that's not your fault. That's their fault. But anyway, getting those cuts, taking the open shots, that stuff, not forcing the issue. I don't think he forced anything. Maybe one drive. And that's like super nitpicky. He cut, did all the good stuff. A steal, a poke free, get out there, in transition dunk. That's exactly what you want Jordan Walsh to do. Again, 3 steals, 2 block shots, defending well, finishing plays, a couple of assists, so he's moving the ball. This Jordan Walsh is a guy that you can look at in the future and say, yeah, this is somebody that you want on the floor. You kind of need him on the floor in the whatever configuration the Celtics put together in the Jayson Tatum, fully Jaylen Brown, next season championship contender type of team. That should include Jordan Walsh, because he gets to go out there and guard the other team's best guy. He can go out there and be disruptive. He can be a pick setter, a ball mover, a cutter, all of that stuff. He doesn't need the ball. He doesn't need to be, you're not going to run plays for him. He's just going to do all those little things. His crashing is elite. His defense can be elite. So that kind of stuff, Jordan Walsh, when we talk about how do you put this team together next year with the right ancillary pieces, with the right guys who don't make a lot of money, comparatively speaking. I mean, he's making a couple $1 million. It's a lot of money. But comparatively speaking, in NBA terms, he's cheap. And that's what you need in this league right now. You need the cheap guys who can perform. And that's Jordan. That's Hugo Gonzalez, who didn't play well today. But you need that guy. You need a Baylor Shireman, who was solid today. But Jordan, I have to commend him, and I had to start with him, even though Jaylen was awesome and Payton was awesome. The guy who stands out like that on the outlier, quote unquote, you have to start with him, because this type of performance is what you hope for forever. Now, obviously, Jaylen was incredible early on. I think that, and Jaylen didn't talk afterwards, which is, good for him. Take a break, go to the All-Star, go to All-Star weekend. You don't have to answer all the media questions. That's fine. Love it. Goodbye. Have fun out there in LA. But I think what Jaylen did was super aggressive early. When the Celtics started out a little sloppy, it was a little turnover prone. The Bulls did have a 5-point lead at one point, and then the Celtics whipped off like this monster. It ended up being like a 32-8 run to blow the game open, but it was a 14-4 run in the first quarter to end the first quarter. So ending the first quarter well, super important. But Jaylen was there. He was the one that was in there kind of doing a lot of the damage. Payton Pritchard as well in the first quarter. They combined for 22 in the first quarter. But Jaylen just, getting to his spots, aggressive, getting to the rim, all of that perfect, not exactly perfect, but really just high-level Jaylen Brown game. And then I think he just kind of backed off. 24 points. He probably could have had 30+, but I think he backed off. He saw the opportunity for Vooch to get his chances, and I think Jaylen just kind of said, yeah, you know what? Payton came off a bad game. Jordan was doing his thing. Vooch was getting comfortable. Jaylen just said, hey, this is my take on the game. I think Jaylen just said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna dial back the intensity from 10 to 8 just to let these other guys go and do their thing. And Jaylen didn't feel a need to just go out there and dominate. And, you get to, at the same time, maybe you're feeling a little sore. He's got ice all over his body. He had his right elbow kind of iced up, taped up, all of that stuff, like big ace bandage after the game. So I feel like Jaylen was just, I did enough. I got us through that tough early first quarter. Pritchard came in and was great. And Jaylen had like a little stretch later on too. But once Vooch and once the rest of the offense was going, Jaylen just, hey, good. You guys got it. We're good. Pritchard, same thing, was coming off. He in the 6-man role is, I said this on one of the recent podcasts. He's born to for that role. He did a really good job. But he had a rough one against New York. And in this one, comes in 11 of 18, 3 of 8 from 3, 26 points, 8 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, a couple of live ball ones, not great, but 5 rebounds, 26 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and good shooting. So Pritchard, just good off the bench. Again, the Celtics, everybody shot well for the Celtics. I mean, Ron Harper was 0 for 2, whatever. That's fine. Ugo 0 for 1. Garza came in late 0 for 1. Garza didn't play, and this is something that I've been talking about here, and I think we saw it come to fruition. Luka Garza is just, I think, the odd man out here. Vooch does a lot of the stuff that Garza does, and he has just a higher level offensive player. And I think this is a little bit more indicative of how this is going to go. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the Vooch lineup stuff, and then get to Anfernee Simons when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by ZocDoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Yeah, what are your requirements here? Someone in network, nearby, who's available, who also listens to you and makes you feel comfortable and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor actually does exist, and you can find that doctor very easily with ZocDoc, which is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering 200 specialties from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and eye care. We've all put stuff off, right? We've all said like, oh, that'll go away. That pain will kind of subside. Oh, that thing will, whatever. No, ZocDoc makes it simple. You search by specialty, symptom, and build a care team that works for you. You can read verified patient reviews so you feel confident in the doctor you choose. You can see real-time availabilities and book instantly on the app or on the website. So whether you want to go in person or a video visit, ZocDoc makes it super easy for you to do either. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book your doctor, a doctor that you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. And thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. Today's show is also brought to you by Wayfair. I'm a big fan of Wayfair. My wife is a huge fan of Wayfair. It's the perfect time of year to kind of reevaluate your house, look around, refresh the space. It's because you're spending more time at home, indoors. It's cold, it's snowy. You want to feel comfortable where you are. I work from home, so sometimes I want to just refresh my work from home space. Everything I need, everything you need is on Wayfair to organize your home, to refresh your home. And this huge selection makes it easy to find whatever you're looking for. It fits your style, it fits your budget. Whether you're looking, hey, let's splurge, or maybe you're like, a little tight, but I still want something. You can find it all on Wayfair. It's very easy to share. My wife and I find links all the time and share them with one another. So if you want like bedding or accent pillows, or if you want to find a piece that fits your style that without spending a fortune, super easy. Shopping is easy. Delivery is smooth. Everything shows up exactly the way you expect. And it's all within your budget. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now and shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Check out Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA Game Night. Game Night covers every game, every night, 7 days a week. I'm there on Wednesdays with Jake Madison from Locked On Pelicans. Locked On NBA has all the big stories from the association. Whoa. Wrong button again. I'm on a bad streak with these wrong buttons. Anyway, go check those out. So, Luka Garza didn't play until like the last 6 minutes. And I just feel like this is how it's going to go with him. And I eventually think, and I said this on the podcast, was it yesterday, day before, that I think Vooch will end up starting. I want to pair him with Derek White, but I also want to pair him with Jayson Tatum, who eventually will start. But maybe not when he's back right away. So I do wonder if keeping Vooch on the bench right now is part of the, hey, Jayson is coming back, which, as I've said, Jayson is coming back. Like, he hasn't said it. The Celtics haven't announced anything, but I've put out the signs. I know that the media thing is a big deal. He doesn't talk to the media because he wants to. He talks to the media because he has to. And the fact that he had to talk, he's back to practice. That means he had to talk to the media when he did. That's part of the return to play policy. They are preparing for Tatum to come back. So even though we haven't heard definitively from him, even though we haven't heard a date or anything like that, they are preparing for Tatum to come back, which means Vooch may be on the bench until Tatum comes back, because Tatum is going to need somebody to work with on the bench, and Vooch might be the guy. They want to pair them together for as long as they can. So when Tatum is coming back and working through whatever minutes restriction, there will be a minutes restriction. I think Vooch is going to be there with him in those minutes. So I think, even though I said Vooch should start, and I do believe he should start, I don't think he's going to start until Jayson Tatum starts. So I think there's a little something there with him and Tatum, and working with him and getting Tatum some openings and some easier drives to the basket and all of that stuff. Because I think Tatum's going to have to come off the bench when he starts, when he returns, and because it's going to be like a 20-minute. It'll definitely be a minutes restriction. He's going to have to ramp himself up after ramping himself up. So that's just something to watch for with Vooch. And I think that just means Luka Garza is kind of the odd man out right now. But you never know. Maybe Vooch needs a day off, or maybe somebody has foul trouble, or maybe there's just a matchup that is advantageous. As Joe Mazzulla has shown us, you just never know when somebody is going to play. So whatever I say, I believe is true, but Joe can also be like, yeah, curveball. I expected this to be a big Anfernee Simons game. It was good to see him. He didn't talk before the game. He didn't talk after the game. He talked at shoot around in the morning, and basically said that Brad Stevens is, was upfront, was honest. He loves Brad. If an opportunity came up to come back to Boston, he'd be all for it. And so, something to keep in mind, where the Celtics, when he's a free agent, they can re-sign him. They can sign him as a free agent. They do have the full mid-level at their disposal. Maybe that's an option. Maybe you bring him back at that mid-level, and then you trade for somebody using that 27.7. It'd be so incredible, because it doesn't change the fact that they have that exception. You can, if you sign him back and use the exception that he created by being traded away to bring in a guy, it's like you traded Simons for Simons in a weird way. But he didn't play well in this one. I thought he was going to go off for 40. He didn't. He had 9 or 7. What was the final on 7 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 6. It felt like he was aggressive coming out, and his shot didn't fall. And I think he just kind of like retreated a little bit. So not what I expected from Simons. And we didn't get to hear from him afterwards to see if anything, being in Boston kind of changed how he approached the game or anything like that. But it was good to see him, and it was nice. He got introduced. No tribute video or anything. He wasn't here long enough, but they introduced him last with the Bulls, and they put up a nice thank you graphic on the thing. So a nice gesture. But for a guy that was here for half a season, that's about what you get. So now the Celtics head into the All-Star break. I'll do a mailbag tomorrow. Now, it's important. First of all, johnkaralis.com/mailbag. I did post a mailbag on SI. So go to the Celtics on SI page. Maybe I'll drop the link in the show notes here. But I did post a mailbag. So a few of you asked questions. Go check it out on Celtics on SI. So there are a few answers there. I'll drop the link in the show notes. I'll mention it again tomorrow. johnkaralis.com/mailbag to get the questions in. I have a bunch of questions. The reason why I'm doing both, and I'm sorry, maybe some people aren't. I haven't heard anything, but I know I asked for mailbag questions for the podcast, and now I'm putting them somewhere else. But it's the only way I can do it to try to get to more. I'm just trying to get to as many of these questions as possible. And so that's kind of my solution. So thank you for submitting them. A few of them are on SI right now. More of them will be answered on tomorrow's podcast. So tune in for that. Thank you for being here for this, whether you're listening, whether you're watching. I do appreciate that. Either way, thank you for being an everydayer and joining me every Monday through Friday. You want to join the Everydayer Club? LockedOnCeltics.supercast.com. $5 a month, ad-free audio, access to our Discord server, a chat with other Celtics fans. $50 a month if you want to pay. $50 a year if you want to pay and save a couple of months there. So check that out. Now I would love it if you shared the podcast, told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.